AI is coming to the picture, it just recreate every single thing related to how we live and how we work.
Hello everyone and welcome to TRG Talk Digital. I'm your host, Rick Ivanovic. Today I'm joined by Paweł Górski. He's the co-founder and CEO of Tribee. Welcome, Paweł.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
So Paweł, co-founder and CEO, that's a big title. How did you end up as the co-founder and CEO of this great company?
That's a big title, indeed. Normally it's just Paweł. How did I end up there? I guess by dreaming for a few years or admiring my friends who were starting their own projects or their own companies, and following them on their journey, and just thinking, wow, that's a pretty solid challenge, but very interesting one. So always looking for intellectual challenges. I was looking forward to that. But the problem is that you can't just become the co-founder without clear idea of a problem to solve. And especially if you want to be a co-founder, then you need to have another founder to start it with you. And I never imagined myself just starting alone. So these two things were not there for quite a while, but staying active and keep connecting, keep observing, looking for opportunities and problems to solve, moving back, linking, I guess, the steps backward. It got to this point. There's a longer story to it, but maybe leave it for next one.
Okay, so there's a longer story to it. So how did you get started with Tribee? Did you just sort of stumble across somebody in a bar or something as, oh, let's co-found this company? What really happened?
Right. Initially, I got into tech by offering help to a guy I met through an ex-boss. That guy was working for a tech venture builder where he was tasked with starting a company within HR tech originally. And I happened to have some idea about the space he was digging in. So I came and I offered my help to advise, to connect. And it turned out we had quite a few good chats and a meeting of minds. So he invited me to join that initiative as his co-managing director for the venture builder. We did that for 1 year and we realized that actually we're working here as employees doing all the things that people do when they found their own business. Why don't we just continue on our own? Why don't we start something else? So it's quite a smooth transition where just by doing my job as an employee, I realize I'm doing what co-founders do. So let's just jump across the river and start again as the founders of our own company. So that was about 5 years ago, I think.
And it's been smooth sailing ever since, has it?
Every time I close my eyes, I sail smoothly to the next morning where the storm starts again. So not exactly smooth, but I think that's not part of the JD of the co-founders. So it's a very exciting ride every day, and it's constantly evolving, changing, and becoming more interesting.
So what is, I mean, given that it's a roller coaster or it's a stormy sea every day, what keeps you going?
That's an important question. I think the biggest factor is that I love what I'm doing. And whenever facing a major challenge or frustration, which is every week, I come back to this, right? But this is what I actually love doing. Part of it is the difficulties, but that and going deeper to why I love doing that. It's a big part of it is that there's an important mission that we feel like we're really helping some people. So in our case, the mission that we started the company with is that we wanted to help as many employees or people working for others to become more successful. It evolved, and we can dig deeper into detail, but I'll leave it at that point. So like I do feel that every day with what we do, we help many people who are the users of our platform to be more successful, and that makes me feel good.
Okay, so is that really what you like best about what you do? Or is there something else?
There is a bunch. So one, like I said, is a sense of mission. The other is, I guess, being in charge of my own fate. Building, in the sense of finding the problems and digging into and finding the solutions. That journey is very exciting, and especially we are in the space that more and more we start leveraging AI, which is a very new, exciting technology in our lives now, and that just adds to the excitement to be one of the first who are uncovering this unknown land and figuring out how to use it for something actually practical that actually helps many people. So that's exciting as well.
You mentioned that every day is it's a bit of a stormy sea, a bit of a roller coaster. How do you sort of motivate yourself to overcome the challenges that you seem to be facing every week?
Right. I learned to make it big every time we have good news, which can be either from the client or from the end user of our platform. So we operate as our client is typically an employer, but our users are employees that work for them. So we work with those two key stakeholders, which adds complexity, but it also adds opportunities to get positive inputs as well, right? So especially I think that's something that I have learned to encourage my team to do a lot, is to talk to our users every day, collect insights every day, and validate what we do and how it helps them. And whenever they learn something new or something that we can learn from, or something that will give us kudos, make sure to share that with the rest of the team, because that's what I realized. We as humans, we don't have that. It doesn't come naturally to let everybody else know when something positive that we found out, because we just keep working and we keep being busy and we forget to celebrate. And so I made it. So I learned that first for myself, that it's my job to motivate myself and then my team. So picking up, fighting for this good news, fighting for these next milestones, and then make sure we all celebrate that. And now that's something that I'm coaching my entire team to also do, because that's what keeps us going. Just seeing positive signs of going in the right direction and making positive impact.
Cool. So what trends are you seeing in your business and your interaction with your clients?
The biggest one, like almost an elephant in the room, to me it's very clear that the fact that AI is coming to the picture, it just recreate every single thing related to how we live and how we work. Everything is being, we have an opportunity to rediscover better ways of doing things, both in life and work, which is scary because it's change, and there's a lot of scary factors that people highlight when it comes to new technology coming to our worlds. But also it's a big opportunity for people to become more successful. So that's the biggest one, I would say.
So opportunities there, which is great. So, but what are some of the pitfalls that you faced in your journey so far?
Related specifically to this trend or overall?
No, not just trend, just that trend's a positive, puts a positive spin on things. But it hasn't been smooth sailing. You've had maybe a few obstacles in your path. So what are some of these obstacles or pitfalls that you've faced so far?
I guess from the perspective of an entrepreneur, we always work on building something that is new, and new means change, and change means scary or not welcome to majority of the people. So the pitfalls are always around the reluctance for the majority to change, and the effort required to find those that are there to be the early ones to try new things and team up with us to find a better solution. So whether that's clients being skeptical to try new things, especially when trying new things means that it may fail a few times before it actually gets to the ideal picture that we want to, right? So that also means initial iterations comes with failures. And that comes with sometimes maybe losing trust or losing the opportunity, and we need to start again, coming through from another direction. So it's related mainly to that, to keep failing in certain things and keep finding a better way and keep coming back with a better solution.
Okay, so it sounds like it is all about change and managing change. Given that you've worked with lots of clients, you've been doing this for some years now, are there any tips that you can give us on how to manage change better?
I guess all the pitfalls trained us to be very focused on identifying who are the right partners to work with, whether it's finding the right client or it's finding the right people within the client to introduce the change, or even if it's, in our case, it's a solution for the employees. So it's even about finding those right groups of employees that we should focus our energy on first to help them to embrace the change and then grow from there. Because I think early on, without the experience, we were just trying to please everybody, address everybody at the same time, and that means higher rate of failure and more difficult to keep going.
Okay. So what's the most important lesson that you've learned so far whilst you've been an entrepreneur?
I think there's many, so I'll just go with the one that just came to my mind because it's fairly recent. It's so important to invest in or to build up our reputation and just keep doing a good work and being consistent in that, so that we can keep earning the trust. Because the more I'm in my area of business, the more people start coming to me. And I'm just thinking recently about an example of a client that is currently our largest client. That first time we approached them 4 years ago, and we talked to the CEO of that company at that time, and he loved he completely agreed with us about the problem that we have defined, and he was very interested in working with us on the problem. However, COVID happened at that time, and that changed a few things here and there in terms of plans. That gentleman also went back to Europe and left the company. We lost the touch completely. But now 4 years later, on one hand, we are back in that company, and like I said, they are the biggest client, but also we are back in touch with this gentleman because now he's in his consulting career. So he left the corporate and now he works on his own, and we found a very exciting ground to collaborate. And that was on the grounds of being very aligned that there is a problem that begs for being solved, and it's still not solved. And now here with technology leveling up, it becomes very possible to reinvent the approaches to how we make salespeople more successful in our case. So that 4 or 5 years ago friendship converts now into a lot of exciting opportunities. But I would have no idea at that time that that with this specific person we can 4 years later partner as well. So I think it was all about staying in touch, being consistent with determination of solving the same problem and growing through that time, and just waiting for the opportunity to come back together and do something together.
So relationships are important.
And consistent hard work and learning to become better around the problems that matter.
Okay. So is there, if you reflect on what you've been an entrepreneur now for how many years? 5 years?
5, 6 years, yeah.
Okay. So what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone beginning their entrepreneurial journey?
So again, first thing that comes to my mind is building your own tribe. So my company name is Tribee, from the word tribe. That has a lot of meaning to me personally in many different ways. One of them is I'm the kind of person that always seek to build a network of people that of course whenever I can add value, but also I can learn a lot from. And especially as a first time or early stage entrepreneur, there's so many things that we don't expect, and there's so many pitfalls, and it's very optimistic or maybe naive to think that we can handle all of that on our own. It just I don't believe it works like that. So keeping people who we can learn from close and finding ways to keep in touch, finding ways to add value to them without expecting anything in return in that very moment. I think that's what took me throughout all the stormy days, and I'm proud that we are around and we are keep growing. That was not obvious at every day of the journey.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch sort of the theme of the questions. I've been focusing pretty much on what it is you do. I want to dig a little bit deeper now and find out who you really are, the real Paweł. Okay, so what does success mean to you?
Now we're getting to serious questions. First of all, it means spending time to do what I love with people that matter to me, surrounding myself with people that matter to me and people that I continuously learn from. And thirdly, being able to continuously increase your positive impact on others. These 3 things to me mean success.
Okay, wonderful. And what makes you feel inspired to be your best self, to be the best Paweł?
What inspires me to be the best version of Paweł? People who are close to me, like my family, my wife, close friends, inspire me to be better so that I can be more supportive to them, be inspiring to them. I think it's you give and you take when we talk about inspiration. I think so. On one hand, I'm so grateful to have people that are inspiring me, and I think that I owe them to sometimes do something good here and there so that they also get some inspiration from myself. So I think that balance is important.
Okay. Now, people obviously matter to you. Okay. Has there been a person or people who have really influenced you?
There's many people who influenced me, and probably the first one would be my grandma, mother of my mom. So I am from Poland, so she's Polish. She's from a small village in Poland, and she is passionate about people and helping people to grow. That's why she became a Polish literature teacher. And she was the kind of person that puts others good in front of her own, in as more important than her own. And she was a very giving person, and that was, I think, inspiring. And I think that just became normal. That's the first thing I observed as a little person, and so that became the standard. And then as I go through life and I see, oh, actually not everybody as good as grandma. So I think I admire her, because her life was not easy, but thanks to her I'm here. Thanks to her, I owe her and grandpa and the rest of the family a lot. So that was inspiring and still is. So that always reminds me to care for people. And I think the more I do that, the more people care for me too. So, so we are all better off.
Okay. Are there any other heroes in your life?
Well, like I mentioned, next one in line was grandpa. So dad of my life, and my mom, who again came from very humble family in a very small village in Poland. Parents struggle through the World War II, barely making it out of it, and so they didn't have much. But he's a man of hard work. So basically, for 35 years or 40 years of his career, he just worked literally every day, building, eventually growing to a chairman of a farming cooperative in the region. I think that is so impressive to go all the way, and basically him being a provider of our entire family. For me to learn English, to be here, that's thanks to him, and that's so much sacrifice every day for the entire life. And I think that's like a completely different even value to most of us maybe in this generation, to sacrifice so much of your own for the family. And that taught me it's important to work hard. There's nothing for free. And I think that's quite helpful every day to remind myself that got to hustle.
Yeah, especially as an entrepreneur. Are you a workaholic?
Sorry?
Are you a workaholic as well?
I wish I could say no, but no, absolutely yes.
Okay, can you? All right, one of your values sounds to be, obviously, family is important. Working hard is important. Can you share some of your other life values?
The new value that came after working hard, I started realizing that working smart is also very important. So that didn't come so obviously from beginning. Another important one is being proactive. When I think about my own values, I think about our team values, and I realize, they're the same, so it helps me to remember. But I do really think that nothing comes to you in life. You need to go take it, and you need to make a first step. I wouldn't be married if I was not proactively making the first step. No, but it's that. It's being with this mindset. I love the Be Proactive chapter of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because realizing the difference between, like, you can either set your mind that most of things happen to us and that's why we just deal with whatever comes, or you can focus your entire energy on what is within my influence circle right now, and just focus your energy on building within there, and that actually expands if you do focus. So I love it. Like, that was one of the most powerful thing I read, and just embraced it into every day. And I think again, back to life of an entrepreneur, there's no other way. that's so core. So that's important. But besides that, another one would be just be humble and focus on growth. I do remind myself to be humble, because it's related to how we make people around us feel. And my life view is that everything we achieve with other people. So it's important to always build partnership type of situations and relationships. So being humble in that, I think, is quite crucial, and growing at the same time. So being always of a mind that whatever happens is an opportunity to learn something out of that. And I think that makes me successful. That makes other people more interested to interact with me, I guess. So that's important.
Cool. I'm curious. You mentioned earlier that you're Polish. Yeah, Poland's a long way away from here, and we're in Vietnam at the moment. What brought you to Vietnam in the first place?
Adventure and coincidence. When I was about to graduate with my bachelor in Poland, I thought it would be interesting to challenge myself and send myself somewhere far away from Poland to a completely different environment where I don't know anyone, and just try myself there, how it will be. And then somebody said, oh, like they're looking for somebody, you fit the profile in Vietnam in a non-profit, semi-volunteering role. I was like, Vietnam? What do we know about Vietnam? Not much at that time. Because Poland was a communist country, and I understood Vietnam was too. So I was like, but no, go check, do your research. So I did. So I arranged some calls with the students in Vietnam, because the role was about running a non-profit for students, to help students go for internships abroad and for them to develop their practical working skills, leadership skills. And I loved it after I talked to a few of students from here. I was so impressed with that on one hand, they were very motivated to learn. On the other hand, they had a strong value of family, which, as you mentioned, it's something that resonates with me as well. So they said, well, my family expect me to graduate with good grades, and I want to really grow myself to be successful so I can take care of my family. And also I want to do something good for my country. So that's their motivations that made me really excited. So then I decided to come for 1 year. So I came for 1 year, almost 13 years ago.
13 years ago. So you obviously like it here.
A little bit, yeah. No, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so I don't want to make any assumptions, so I'm going to ask you the question. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? Such a great world we live in. Hanging out with Rick, recording a podcast, having a fantastic wife, living in a country that is so sunny, having so many opportunities, having so many problems and still finding ways out of it every time. So many reasons.
Okay. All right, so you're in Vietnam. There are challenges here as well as opportunities. What's your biggest pet peeve at the moment in this country?
I do remember that word from some English class, but I forgot the meaning.
So things that annoy you, things that wind you up a little bit.
I'm with you.
Or a lot.
Oh yeah, that the biggest one is that the day is just only 24 hours. It's so annoying. Were you talking about living in the country or in general?
Yeah. Well, it could be anything, actually. What is your
one of my
pet
biggest
peeve at the
weakness is that I'm a very impatient person. I like to get things done or get what I need quickly. So in everyday life, like not everybody's like that. Some people like to take it slow, and plus we live in a country where not everything is so clear and regulated. So sometimes there's no answer to my question, or sometimes what seems common sense for me is opposite for another person, and that gets me boiled up. So that's one of a personal improvement area. But yeah, I think what helps me to get through is to remind myself that it's me who needs to adjust, not seeking for problems somewhere else because I don't control it.
Okay.
So need to tackle it being proactive.
So a few things wind you up. We heard earlier that each week presents its own roller coaster, another stormy sea. What do you do to unwind, to relax, to recharge?
I do sports or I move. So the number one step is to hide from any screens and go somewhere that I'm not able to touch them. So one thing that we discovered with my wife was to move to the area where it was easy to just go for a walk, because that's not something you can take for granted when you live in Saigon. So creating the right environment to make these habits that you want to build to become easier, that has been important. And then just make it non-negotiable to have some sport activities in the schedule. I come from sports. For 10 years till I came to Vietnam, I was a semi-professional football player. Soccer for those speaking American English. So that's probably built up my values and how I am. Besides just the people I described earlier, it's also how I lived. Yeah.
Do you still play?
Not football as much, but I challenge myself with learning new sports here and there. So still very active. But
what's your current go-to sport now then?
So today I just did Muay Thai. So that's one of the
Muay Thai.
latest addition to the sports collection. Another one would be tennis. And then last 2 years I was more into triathlons, so running, biking, and swimming. So that was the hype called Ironman. So I need to keep moving to stay sane. And I see a huge difference. If there's a few weeks that I'm a little bit sick and I will stop exercising, then how I feel mentally is just night and day. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
You're around there.
So can you tell us something about yourself that most people don't know? Apart from the fact you're Polish.
Probably my wife would say he's doing the laundry when he's sleepwalking. True story. She took a picture of the laundry thing in the living room where it's not normally placed. And I woke up and she's laughing at me. I was like, what's going on? Go and see. So that's a very precious skill, apparently.
Was that a once-off or is it happening all the time? As in doing the laundry in your sleep?
Luckily. I mean, maybe not luckily. We need to ask her. No, I'm the laundry guy in general, at home. What other things? Usually, well, that's a kind of, to be frank with myself, usually people from the outside see me only as the super cheerful guy, but like I said, I'm also a very impatient guy, and I can boil up and I can sometimes explode at people. Fortunately, less and less and less. But it's something that usually I tell my team up front when they start working with me so that they don't get freaked out. Because when I'm so focused and determined on accomplishing certain things, then that's my weakness that I'm working on. So usually people get surprised because they see me only as the fun and cheerful and friendly and good guy, which is very humbling. But there is a side to work on. There is a dark side.
So, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? Would it be your dark side?
Oh, hopefully not. Hopefully not. I hope or I wish that this will be that everybody who knew me a little bit closer will have some memory or experience that helped them to grow as well. That's what matters to me. So that's equally for employees, for friends, for partners. I think that's that will be one thing.
Okay. Now, if you had 3 wishes, if I granted you 3 magical wishes,
Generous. Thank you, Rick.
what would you wish for?
Hmm. Only three.
Only three.
I would wish that everybody has this ability to be proactive. That bothers me. Like it's related to my friends or just my family members sometimes, or people that are less close. But I see that it directly impacts the quality of life hugely, and it's selfish reason too. Because I think if my family members all were equally proactive, then we would have just less challenges as a family as well. If everybody tackle things and just without leaving it to the fate. So I think it would make everybody's lives better, mine as well. That's one. I wish it was easier to travel for everybody. I think I love traveling. I learn so much every time I travel. Plus, I just feel it just elevates the quality of my life proportionally to the amount of travel. And again, from a more altruistic side, I think the world will be better if people travel. So that student non-profit organization I used to work for is called ISEC, and the original idea why ISEC was created in 1948 was that right after the World War II, they decided that if people had a chance to travel and know people in other countries, they would have much more empathy as well for each other. So there would be no wars, right? So maybe I would use one wish for that. Because again, I can travel more. Plus, we probably prevent a lot of wars. Because I genuinely believe that's true. Like the more friends I have around the world, the more it helps me to kill my negative biases, which are just there. Sometimes you can't control it, and it's just so sad when you hear in the news how people have lack of understanding. But it's also selfish. I love traveling, so I wish I could travel more. There's too many countries to see.
And your third and last wish?
No, I mean, I cannot come home if I don't say that we need a nice house for my wife by the river, or by the sea, like by the water. A lot of space for her to put plants, very green, and we love that. Like I think surrounding yourself with green, with plants and with water. Again, just make the quality of life better. So I wish there was more green everywhere. And that's one thing that could have been much better in Saigon, for example, where we live. Right?
Yeah.
It's missing. So I was, yeah.
Now you mentioned that you used one of your wishes to travel more, and you mentioned that's because you love traveling. So what's the most favorite trip you've ever taken so far?
There's a few, but Mexico was epic.
Okay.
A few years ago, in the old world, the one before COVID, we had an opportunity to visit a friend for their wedding. I love Mexico. It was it reminds me Vietnam a lot, and being a mix of developed, very comfortable and very exciting, and also still a little bit wild, and where the people are genuine and super friendly, that the climate is warm. So we traveled from Mexico City to Guadalajara to Jalisco region, learn how they make tequila. But they have seriously good tequila and seriously good food. And like I said, no, the vibe from people, they are so warm and friendly. That's what got me to live here, because I felt that people were so friendly, and I felt welcome, and that's how I felt in Mexico as well. I love it.
Okay, so tricky question. Okay, Mexico's got all those positive vibes. Vietnam's got the same positive vibes or similar. If you had to make a choice between the two countries,
Mexico and Vietnam?
Yeah.
Oh, Vietnam is home. Mexico is.
Mexico was holidays, your favorite trip. You
That's
haven't
right.
lived there yet. You haven't been entrepreneurial there. Is that next in the future?
Probably I would need to spend there quite a little longer to know that. But now family is here as well, so there's many more reasons to think home is home, and but yeah, together with my wife, we are open to spending some time experiencing life somewhere else. We are not tied anywhere, and just equally, we are not tied here. Poland is also our home, so we have those choices, but it's definitely comfort zone here now after 13 years almost. That's
Too comfortable?
maybe.
Okay, because you're very interested in growth, and if you're in your comfort zone, you stopped growing.
That's exactly why I started digging into that idea that should be open for if there's reasons to move for a while or not. Then we stay open to that. There's no current plan,
Okay,
but you never know, and we need to be open.
all right. Quick change in topic now. What does your morning routine look like?
Make coffee for my wife first. She cannot wake up without coffee being ready.
How about you?
And I do like my coffee, but I drink cold brew, so it's already ready.
Okay.
Yeah, and we know a happy wife means happy life. That's a Vietnamese saying as well. Yeah, then usually do some sports, like either go for a run, go for Muay Thai practice, tennis. I think that's the definition of a well-started day.
Yeah.
And generally, last a year or so at least, I build up the routine of not jumping straight to work within an hour. So actually, it does feel good. I feel that quality of life is better if I don't rush straight to it, which means I adjusted the waking hours, so there is 2 hours of just enjoying my my breakfast or my coffee or my training, and not rushing to it. And that makes a huge difference. Not rushing to the first work task.
Okay. So that leads me on to a related question, because you said that is
Plan it all.
no. What time of day do you get your best work done?
Usually from between morning and lunch. That's.
Yeah.
I learned something very interesting in the last year. That for some it's obvious, for some it's not. That we have 2 cycles during the day, and different people have them at different hours. So we need to listen to our body to identify where they are. So I realized that for me, between 8:30 and 12, that's my main peak. And then there's a smaller peak somewhere after 4 p.m. So I started adjusting my work and life to these cycles, to these peaks. For example, by planning all the meetings after lunch, where I'm kind of drowsy, but talking to people wakes me up. So that's actually a productive way to maximize. But for morning, I aim to keep it for the individual work, where I need my brain in my best as well. And that really helps. That's I feel better with myself and with my work.
All right. Again, change of pace again. What's the most unusual experience that you've ever had in business so far?
Unusual experience in business. Wow. I used to work with the manufacturing businesses in the past, and we had partners who were making the introductions to the owners of factories in some country, so we went for lunch, and the partners suggested, okay, let's order some beers, let's enjoy. So wait a minute, but we're going to meet the CEO of the factory after this, and no problem. In that factory, they don't care. No, let's hold. We can get you the beer after the meeting. that was quite unusual at that time. Different cultures and different ways of doing things. A little bit heard that from stories from Grandpa, from early times of him. But yeah, that's a funny, unusual story. I think struggle to come with something bright right now.
Okay, so that's in business.
Hmm.
What's the most unusual thing have you ever experienced in your life?
Unusual thing I experienced in my life. First thing that comes to my mind was the moment of proposing to my wife. Never thought it would be so full of emotions. I guess in the end I am an emotional guy, so my hands were so shaking and my eyes were a bit blurry after my little speech love letter that I couldn't find her finger. So I definitely didn't expect that kind of reaction. It was deep and meaningful. It was amazing.
Okay. All right. Now we talked a bit about your entrepreneurial journey. It's been 5 years so far, and we've heard it's been a bit stormy. Was there something about it, or what's the one thing about it that you really didn't expect? You started your business, your entrepreneurial journey, with all sorts of wonderful ideas and visions of what the future is going to be, except reality is a little bit different. So is there something that happened or that you really didn't expect? It was a complete surprise to you.
One example would be, I think in August 2023, so about a year and a half ago, I sent an email to our investors that according to the cash in the bank and the forecasts, we will be out of money in September 2023. And my team recall that now as point of being proud, because they also know about this, that we made it. So basically we, from something that was seeming too difficult to pull it out, we eventually did. We're still there, and we grow it. So long story short, we started as a very different business idea, and it changed more than once to find the right formula, and I'm sure it still will evolve to get even better. And I guess I didn't think it through so deeply, but I definitely didn't expect that you can take so many turns and you can get to something, and that it will take quite a while. Definitely didn't expect that. That's how building a company works.
Yeah.
I don't know why we always expect it will be a straight line. That's so naive to think. And then when there was a curveball and we went through that, then we think now it will be a straight line.
No.
No. It's funny that we keep thinking that this time it will be a straight line.
So you've learned that the hard way. Okay, so before we close, how can our listeners find you? How can they contact you if they want to find out more about you or your company?
Several ways. So Paweł Górski may be difficult to type from here, so we'll probably put that in the notes of the podcast. But you will definitely find me if you type that and search, let's say, LinkedIn at Tribee is the name of the company. You will definitely find me there, and I think LinkedIn is probably the best way. We can definitely share my email and link to profiles as well, but that will be the two best.
Okay, so we'll definitely put all of that in the show notes. So in closing, what's one question that you wish that I'd asked you, but I didn't? And if I had asked you, how would you have answered it?
Wow, you're definitely good in this podcasting. Oh, wow.
Another stormy sea.
Another curveball. And I thought it was a straight line from there when you... One question I like to ask people that I usually interview for jobs is well, you kind of asked, but I didn't. I usually ask people, what was the biggest challenge in your life overall, and how it's changed the way you are, and how was it meaningful. So that's, let's say, one of my favorites to ask. So let's see. So if I ask myself that same question, then again, there's a bunch of things, but there, 12 years ago, when I was very early in Vietnam and running my own team of young kids, we were all young kids. We were all about 21, let's say, that time. And we were running a serious organization, a serious business, you can say. And there was a challenge from government where we needed to pause the operations of the whole organization for 3 months. So our term was 1 year, and then it sounded so scary. It's like, oh my God, what did we do? What do we do now? It sounded like absolutely impossible challenge to solve, and just completely lost and completely demotivated and down and whatever else you can think of. And so my team was 12 people and 1,000, between 600 to 1,000 students associated who was working as volunteers. So, and how are we gonna tell them, and what do we do? And there's many foreign students coming to Vietnam, and we need to somehow, and people leaving. So that was definitely a challenge over our abilities at that time. Definitely felt very harsh and heavy. But there's a couple of things we learned from that from then on, it's just very clear to me, like, there was a big challenge, felt impossible to solve. There's certainly a solution. And then, by the way, there will be even bigger challenge coming up at some point soon. So once you solve this one, it's there. So the challenge is there to prepare you for the next challenge. And that's what actually grows you as a person. And I realized we grow when we are super challenged or super frustrated. So in fact, it's a good thing, and we should just welcome it. So that's what I keep reminding myself first, and then my teams as well, or people I mentor. Because I think we should seek for it, and it's fine, and there's definitely a solution. You just need to probably find it together, maybe with smart people. So that's another thing we learned there. Like, we need to find the smart people for this occasion to help us and think it through together. That's what we did, and by the way, that team, because I was a part of a international association of 100 entities, so we still, even though we had this 3 months pause, we still ended up as fastest growing entity in that international network, which was the first time for Vietnam. So until now, we tell this story to our successors, because it means that everything's possible. Just tackle your challenge. Everybody thinks that their challenge at that time is the biggest. So everybody has some. Just tackle it and keep going. There's lots to learn. So be grateful.
So thanks, Paweł. That sort of sums it up. In that to grow, you've got to face challenges, okay? And it's in overcoming those challenges that you actually grow. And in that story you just shared, despite this enforced pause, maybe that challenge caused you to grow so much, you're still one of the leading
100%.
organizations. So challenges really stretch you, they really make you grow, and it seems to be what turns you on.
That's right. That's to your first question. That's what inspires me, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very, very much, Paweł. Thank you very much, all our listeners, for listening. We'll put all the contact details of Paweł and Tribee in the show notes. Thanks for joining us, and see you again next time.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Paweł.
Thank you.